Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling Review Series for the 27th of February, 1993. Doink says he has a surprise for the Big Boss Man, doesn't really get into the details of it. Manages to. Then we see Yokozuna and Brian West. Obviously, Yokozuna mere weeks away at this point, probably about 5 or so. From winning the World Wrestling Federation title for the first time from Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9. Clotheslined by Yokozuna early. Hits a leg drop and a Uranage and other things. Splash in the corner and the Bonsai drop. 1, 2, 3. We hear a very scratchy 1993 phone call from Mr. Jim Duggan's father, chief of police in Glens Falls, New York, who basically says he wants his son to return to pro wrestling against the advice of Jim Duggan's wife, which I find kind of odd. Father is for it, wife is against it. Awkward for Jim if this was real life. Anyway, Mr. Perfect talks about taking out Lex Luger, getting rid of Lex Luger, being better than Lex Luger and more perfect than Luger. The Head Shrinkers talk about going to WrestleMania against the Steiners. Well, they do so in another language predominantly, but anyway, that's the idea as we move towards WrestleMania 9. Whippleman and Gonzalez discuss The Undertaker, being able to take The Undertaker out, the fact that The Undertaker is afraid of Giant Gonzalez, the fact that The Undertaker has never been challenged in this way before. We move to the Nasty Boys against Mark Ming and Jim Gordman. Very basic match here. The Nasty Boys really have kind of fallen off. They leave by the midpoint of summer, so they're only here for another couple of months. Because by Fall Brawl 93, which is in September, they are no longer with the World Wrestling Federation. They've gone to WCW by that point, and I think it's 93. Irish Whip by the Nasties, and again we see some, hair pulling in the likeness by the Nasties, side suplex by Jerry Sags, hammerlock and hammer attack and all of that, and some shots. Sags with an inverted atomic drop and a pump handle slam. Tag off to Knobs. Knobs hits the splash in the corner, among other things, and then hits a power slam. Tags off to Sags. Sags hits the top rope elbow as he always does, and then there we go. Nasty Boys with a victory. The Doink and the Big Boss Man match is from Wrestling Challenge, which is odd to me. Doink presents the Boss Man with a present. This does not bode very well. Boss Man manages to get hit in the head with the box. So Boss Man, kind of a bit of a unintelligent person, gets some ride time from Bourne, and Boss Man fights from underneath for a minute, drop toe hold on Bourne or on Boss Man. Goes into an STF, which is weird when you think that it was one of John Cena's finishing holds for so long. Doink with an attempted pin attempt and goes back to work on the arm of the Boss Man. That is pretty intense. What's odd is so many people paint their face like Doink, but it's actually a mask, which I did not realize until several years after the Doink thing was a thing. I was so used to seeing people paint their face on the indies as Doink ripoffs that it was a big deal. Anyway, big kick by the Boss Man, several punches, uppercuts, and a headbutt by the Boss Man. The Boss Man off the ropes hits across the middle rope to Terminator, and there we go. Few shots by the Boss Man, and again, Irish Whip, and big splash in the corner. And then we see a trip up, and Doink steals a victory. We move to Main Gene Okerlund's WrestleMania 9 report. Again, they're about a month away, a little more than that from WrestleMania 9. Hart and Yoko is your main event. I believe they announced the semi-main event either this week or the next, which is Hogan and the Barber against Money Incorporated for the Tag Team Championships. Bret Hart's starting to focus in on Yokozuna, basically saying that what he's done to Jim Duggan is morally reprehensible. He's going to get even with him. That is your championship match. Shawn Michaels and Tatanka there. Basically, Michaels says he's the Intercontinental Champion, the Hot Shot, and he's going to put Tatanka in his place in a championship match at Mania. Crush says he's finally going to get even with the evil clown Doink, and that he's going to crush him like a pineapple because Doink had made the comment that he was a pineapple head, which is a heck of an insult. Anyway, Mean Gene Okerlund again implores us to order on pay-per-view, and then we go to Jim Powers against the narcissist Lex Luger. Full-length mirror for Luger, as we've seen in the last several little bit. The mirror always within Luger's shot, and Jim Powers is unimpressed with the mirror. Jim Powers looks at himself in the mirror. This does not impress Luger, who turns around and goes right after Powers for using the mirror and hits a clothesline to the back of the head, back of the neck. So that leads to Lex Luger dominating Powers for a minute or two, and just whipping him around, that sort of thing. Power slam by Luger. One of the moves that Luger does really well is the power slam. Then he hits the double bicep. Then he hits the running forearm after a suplex, and Luger dominant in the whole situation. Event Center featuring Yokozuna and The Undertaker. Yokozuna, obviously, led by Mr. Fuji. Fuji promises that his man Yokozuna, the grand champion who has not been defeated as of yet, will win the championship at WrestleMania. The first man to win the Royal Rumble title shot to be able to do so, and he is successful eventually, obviously. Undertaker promises to eliminate Giant Gonzalez, and we are done with the month of February. Superstars of Wrestling. We will be back with the month of March here tonight, but until then, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.